All right, ladies and germs, welcome to another episode of Special Dummies Unit. I am your singular host tonight, Bruce. Sorry about the inconvenience of not having Fred, David, or Roland with us tonight, but they have been in a situation where they can't be here at the moment. They may show up in a little bit, but I'm not 100% certain. Bear with me while I change my settings. All right, we are on fire tonight. So yeah, that being said, they're not here, so it's just me. Tune in if you'd like. Don't tune in if you don't like looking at my face. We may have, like I said, we may have them on. We may have them on in a little bit, but as of right now, it's just numero uno. I am Bruce, the by myself wolf tonight, drinking a good old Starburst strawberry C4. Delicious. How's everybody's week been? If you're watching, how's everybody's week? What you guys been up to lately? Uh, Last week we were having a little issue with Facebook not letting us stream, but it looks like it's all been taken care of tonight, or it's all been taken care of now. So I will be handling all of the duties for tonight. I'll be the serious, and I'll be the silly, and I'll be the at times inappropriate. And then I'll try to get a little bit of the quiet. Fred the Man James in there. I hope I can pull it off. Not sure if I'll be able to. Not sure if I'll be able to pull that off or not. Um, but yeah, we're gonna have the best time possible, and gonna prove to everybody that I can do this. Just putting that out there. Yep, just solo Bruce tonight for now. I'll be the by myself wolf tonight. Um, some stuff came up, and it could be very interesting. So yeah, some stuff came up that they couldn't our other hosts couldn't make it. So I'm pulling quadruple duty, and just trying to make this thing work. I want to make sure we continue with the episodes. Hey, what's going on, Casey? I hadn't seen you in a minute. How you been doing, man? And yeah, you're right, Logan. It is going to be an interesting night. Um, so how my week's been? So Friday pretty much uneventful. After you guys saw me last week, Saturday I drove to the School of Morton in Chuckey, Tennessee, and had an interesting time there. Got to meet Gabe Sapolsky, really super cool guy. Got to meet Ricky Morton, another really super cool guy. Working on homework. Well, good luck, brother. Really super fun time. I got to train at the School of Morton. Got to meet all of their guys, and got some opportunities coming up that we'll discuss. We'll discuss as they happen. Don't want to count my sheep before they've hatched, so to speak. Uh, Great, good to hear that, man. Yeah, dude, everything's going good right now. Just doing my best to keep at it, and keep everything going as smoothly as possible. The old rigmarole of juggling life. It's fun times. So, oops, I don't want to leave the studio. I almost messed up. So, I'm gonna I'm gonna change things up a little bit. I'm going to invite someone on that has reached out to help me do the damn thing. You guys all know him. You guys all love him. He is doing great things across wrestling and across wrestling in general. He should be on here in a second. I want to keep it hush hush until he pops in. But yeah, the drive back from Chucky was a pretty good haul. Got to see a pretty part of the country that I hadn't seen. Got to, I mean, it was at night, obviously, but it was pretty nice getting to go out and do that, experience that, so to speak. Like I said, a lot more opportunities are coming this way, so that should be we'll let y'all guys know as soon as we find out more. Got to stop at wrestling megastore Buc-ee's. Took a bunch of cool pictures in there. Got a bunch of cool Buc-ee's gifts. That's my dogs. You guys are probably used to them by now. But yeah, just got home about I left shortly after, and got home. Got home around 5:15 Sunday morning, and just pretty much slept till about noon. It was a pretty good drive. Got to bring my family with me, so they were able to be there for it. And on the way home, we made some pretty good memories, so to speak. My wife says she would never want to make that trip again. It was entirely too long and boring sitting in a car with me. She doesn't do well on long trips though, so that's understandable. Let's see, what else? Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Monday morning, I did the dang thing and punched that clock, and now we're here. Fast forward about 4 days, and now we're back at it. So, yeah. That has been my week in a nutshell. Nothing too crazy. There was a lot of really awesome wrestling shows going on throughout the country, obviously, and in our state of Arkansas. And sorry about that. Messages, sorry. Sorry about that. But yeah, hey, if you're just now tuning in, welcome to episode 62 of Special Dummies Unit. I'm all alone. What's going on, Fred? How you doing, bro? Glad to see you popped into the comments. Hope everything's going good. Told you, Fred the Man James. Sorry, answering a message. But yeah. So yeah, fill me in. How's y'all guys' week been? Keep the comments rolling. Roland's thinking about me. Hope y'all guys are doing good. If you're watching, just really sorry, these messages are going crazy. Just trying to get things a popping. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that, bro. Hope your headache gets to feeling better soon. All right. Just got a noise into my microphone letting me know that our special guest has arrived. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the one and only
Bruce.
Dude Nasty. What's going on, brother?
Hey, man, not a whole lot. So you were alone? Hey, just so happens I freed up my evenings. I no longer work the second job, so let's make this a little
Awesome.
interesting. Got myself a B double L in honor of my brother William
Heck yeah,
Blackwell.
those things ought to, dude. Bud Light ought to sponsor y'all guys.
Man, with as much as we put those guys over, they should.
Right, right.
Because it's funny because at Vino's, Mark Olson, like if we're in there, he's immediately grabbing them out of the fridge and throwing them.
Right, right.
So we drink them out of the BLs. But anyway, how about you? Like, how have you been?
Oh, dude, I've been doing good, man. Just let everybody know that I got a cool opportunity to go out to the School of Morton Saturday and train out there with Ricky was there, and I got to train with him, and uh, dude, it was pretty dope.
Oh, dude, man, I don't doubt it one bit. There's a lot of talented guys that I know that came out of the School of Morton. A couple of them are Zach Mosley and Cornelius Pepperbottom.
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent, excellent talents, great dudes too. And then I keep up with them on Facebook and stuff in the socials. So I mean, the fact that you got to go out there, like just that learning opportunity is,
Right, right.
it works wonders, especially for someone like you who's been in it for quite some time. So I mean, you never too good or too old to learn a new thing.
Oh, right, right. And dude, like my whole like just that experience, like don't get me wrong, like a lot of the stuff that he was teaching, I got from Dirty Little Dave, like the old school techniques and stuff.
Yeah.
But like I learned so much like things that I do now. I learned ways to do those same things but take less steps. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
it's just that it's just that old school mentality of work smarter, not harder. And dude, it
Um,
it's crazy.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. I had one of those moments here a couple of weeks ago. So I got to wrestle a guy named Luke Langley, and
Oh, I've heard of him.
dude, man, if you ever get a chance to work him, jump on it. I cannot say enough good things about Luke. He is a great dude, great worker. And like he just taught me some subtle nuances. Like one of the things I've always had trouble with is taking vertical suplexes. So like just he told me a few things to make it crisp, and then he's like, "Oh, you can apply this to this and this as well." And I will say, like the match I had with him, resume match. It was so good, so
Right.
fun, and it's like I told Will, I'm like, look, man, if I get the opportunity to work him again, then I want to. I enjoyed myself. I was nervous because I'm like, this dude's so good, but like, I guess I was nervous because it's like I didn't want to mess up.
Dude, I
So,
completely get that. You've seen me at every Vino show, right?
ball of nerves.
just a
Uh,
just a ball of nerves, stress to the max.
Ball of
It,
nerves, and I'm just sitting there like I don't smoke at all, and I'm just sitting there like smoking an invisible cigarette. Like, okay, I gotta put this fucking ring down. I gotta take this ring down. I gotta put it up. Yeah,
but no, that's and dude, that's I mean, it's just when you what I've realized is when you care about the sport and you care about just wrestling in general and you care about the fans, you stress because you want the fans to get their money's worth, and you want to believe that your part contributed to the success of the show.
oh,
And
absolutely.
dude, what you and Will are doing and what you guys are both doing singularly is just it's crazy good. And I tell people all the time, like if you're looking for talent, man, those two guys are guys that will bring your stock up.
Man, I really appreciate that. We try to put over all of our boys, you, David, D Mike, we
Right.
try to put all over or all of our boys over the best we can as well.
Absolutely.
I think the whole point of Vino is we're trying to find the best talents from places we have worked and bring them into one place, and then now it becomes a network, but it also becomes like a breeding ground of like okay, or like what is it, sacred ground. So it's like Northwest
Right.
Arkansas, Northeast Arkansas, Texas. Where are they going? Central Arkansas.
Right.
So to
Right.
have like that place to do all that is great. But
Oh,
you mentioned me and Will, the way me and Will as singles acts. It's funny because when we first started at APW, it was very much a when me and him trained, we trained like workhorse wrestlers and stuff. And then
right.
our singles acts, kind of similar workhorse brawler styles. We do FGA. It's a bunch of wiener and fart jokes. So,
Well, like FGA has traditionally been like kind of like the frat house of good time wrestling.
oh yeah, I mean, you know, we had a guy. The biggest compliment is the originator of FGA and what it originally stood for. Came back after his match, looked me and Will dead in the eye, and just went and walked past us. And once he did that, sold.
Right.
That's all I needed to know. So,
Exactly.
but I mean, that was when we had that match with you and Jack, and that was a fun match in general, just to
Oh,
get out
dude,
there and goof around.
I had a blast. The thing about those two teams, they're just good time having just when four guys can go out there and not really call anything and
Yeah.
just be entertaining like that. That's the best.
Well, I mean, something that I've learned, and it takes me a while, is like I can call a whole match in the back, and if it happens, cool. If it don't, we'll make it work. I've been very much a just give me a couple things, let me know what I need to do, and just communicate with me out there.
Right.
And
Uh,
the
I
problem
used to. Sorry, go ahead.
the problem I'm running into right now is um, me running as a heel character is especially at Diamond State is I'm either taking too long pandering to the audience and getting the heat, or I'm taking too long with my entrance. So now it's like I need to find a good balance with that.
Yeah, like a happy
Because
medium.
yeah, because I've a majority of my career I've played an underdog babyface, so now I'm no longer having to play that anymore. So this is a new challenge for me.
Right.
So
Right. Hey, what's going on, Paul? Glad to see you could stop in and see us. Hope you
hey,
stick
what's
around
up,
for a little
Paul?
bit. Um, so Debbie, they each like David had some things he was handling. He couldn't make it on right at 8:15. He may be on in a little bit. And then Roland, he had some stuff, some personal things come up at the last minute that he had to bow out tonight. I've got my fingers crossed and I got a fire lit that they'll be here, but not 100% certain if it'll happen. Uh, tell Doug I said hi as well. Clown, love you, bro, as always. uh, but yeah, dude, like, and that was a thing, like with Beer 30 with me and Jack, like, we were always the good guys, the guys that everybody loved and wanted to be with and hang out. 90% of the time of that those matches, dude, I was interacting with the crowd. Don't get me wrong. Like when it was wrestling, I wrestled, but then, just to have that opportunity to bring the crowd in and give them a closer, almost an in ring, access to the match. Dude, it was just that connection. It just seemed like it was always there, no matter where we went.
Yeah, that's that's something that me and Will we've been working with. Like, so when FGA first started, me and Will dealt with this. I was too afraid to use my voice on the mic. And so, I'd hit a one-liner, and then Will would take over. And then now, I'm just calling the women and Marianne a bunch of hogs, and just doing the most outlandish things I can think of. But it's eventually, like, we've been approached by members of the crowd, like, we want to like you, but you guys are douchebags, and we want to love you guys because you're funny, but then you make us hate you again.
Right.
So, hey, what's up, Paul? Hope all's well your way.
This is true.
But I mean, outside of that, like I would say like the last year and a half, I would go as far as saying it's been like the run of my career so far, just because wrestling so much, and one did a complete body transformation almost. So it's physically feeling better, mentally feeling better, and like just
awesome.
Taking every bit of that I can learn from wrestling and what I've learned, and figure out how to apply that to a new character. So that it's been a hell of a run, and like I credit that to like shows like Beano's and places like Diamond State that have given me opportunities, or just anywhere that's given me an opportunity to hone my craft.
Right. Well, I've noticed, and obviously two wrestlers talking about wrestling. I've noticed that you get more. Don't get me wrong, like you learn a bunch of stuff from being in places that have that heavy veteran presence, and don't get me wrong, you there you go.
Oh, thank you, clown. Thank you. I work them quite a bit.
You get that so. you get that learning experience from being around guys like that, but where you get to learn how to be yourself is a place that lets you stretch your legs and really focus on yourself, because you take all that knowledge that you glean from all these people and you get an opportunity to actually apply it to yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's the thing where like you learn all this stuff in school, and then you don't really use it until you're an adult. And then you're like, oh yeah, look, I remember that thing from back then when I had to do that thing. But it ends up coming full circle. And I've seen you guys in a teacher setting, where you guys are the teachers and you got your pupils around you. And dude, the knowledge that y'all guys pass on is just it's phenomenal. It's great stuff. I love seeing guys pass on that knowledge.
And the thing is like anything in wrestling, right? It's all secondhand,
right?
Whether it be you hear it from another vet or you experience it, it becomes secondhand. I've always had the campfire rules philosophy of anything is I want to try to leave a place better than when I found it. And, and I myself, every day I go to bed, next day I want to wake up better than I was the day before. Sometimes it's a struggle, but, I just want to give back that what I've learned so far, because there's some people, and while there is certain amounts of gatekeeping that do need to happen, just to protect the sanctity of the industry we work in, if you're too stingy with knowledge, then nobody ever gets better.
Right. Well, and I think I teach this an awful lot. Like, don't be don't be the guy that knows what's right and watches something wrong happen. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you've been in the
Yeah.
business for 5 minutes or 5 years or 15, 20, however many years. Don't be that guy that or girl that sees something being done wrong and then just like, oh well, that's them. I'm gonna do what's right. Like you may be, somebody may look at you like, oh well, who's this greenhorn thinking that they know wrestling? Well, look, if they're right, they're right. I don't care if they've been in the business, like I said, 5 minutes or 5 years.
Yeah.
What's right is right. And look, I've tell people all the time, if you see me doing something and it's the wrong way, tell me to fix it. The only way I'm going to know if I'm doing it wrong is if I'm, if I see it myself or if somebody else sees it and tells me. And I
Well,
don't,
and
sorry, go ahead.
that's how you learn is,
Right.
if nobody tells you what you're doing wrong, then you're not going to learn. Like anybody will tell you if you're doing right,
Right.
Very
Right.
few people will tell you if you're doing right, or they'll tell you nothing. But sometimes they need to, like, you need to be told what you're doing wrong, because you don't know if you're doing it wrong.
Right.
And so, that's excuse me, and that's again, that comes down to experience in anything,
Right.
outside in and out of wrestling. And I think if we sat there and we took the time to actually teach the next crop of people and help them instead of hinder them, the business grows.
Right.
Where it's a business of vanity, though, so it's a lot of protecting your spot. But if you're good at what you do, you're always going to have a spot.
Right, right. And I think that's what scares a lot of vets. And 15 years in, I consider myself a vet, but I'm still learning. And so I think that's what scares a lot of older vets. They don't they have a spot. They're useful, they're entertaining, they're good, and they see a young guy coming up, and whether it be what, for whatever reason, they don't necessarily, it's like the old adage, that we've heard 1,000 times, slow down. You're speeding through things, slow down. But if I don't tell you why to slow down, I'm not giving you any knowledge. You know what I'm saying? That's like saying, hey, bro, when you lace your boots up, lace them up left over right all the time, always. Well, why do you do that? Well, the reason I do it is completely different. Gosh, than the way somebody else, the way I lace my boots up is different than the way somebody else laces theirs up. I've been in 100 locker rooms at least. And out of those 100 locker rooms, there's not one person that laces their boots up the way I lace mine up. And that's just a general statement. It could be, it could be shoes or whatnot. But what I'm getting at is, if a young guy sees me lacing my boots up and he asks me, why are you lacing your boots up like that? Well, I'm going to tell him, I lace them up this way because this is how I was taught. And, to me, this makes more sense psychologically. And there's a reason. When I play a heel, I always do laces out. A lot of people will do laces in. I do laces out, left over right. And the reason I do that is because in the Marine Corps, I was taught that, laces out, left over right, because that creates a weapon on your instep that a lot of people don't realize. It's almost like brass knuckles for your foot.
Never thought of that. Never would have thought of that, but I can see that.
But that's what I'm saying. And a lot of people, and to this day, I don't know. I like every shoe that I have has got to be laces out, left to right, left over right, and it creates little knuckles on the tips, on your laces of your boot. And as a heel, even if you don't use that, you're always trying to, peeking behind the curtain a little bit. You know, you're protecting the guy that you're in the ring with, but it is a physical fight. So you have to make it right, right, Scotty. If you're a Marine, everything that you have it can be made into a weapon. If you're a heel, you're thinking that if somebody's up close and they happen to see your boots laced up and they ask you, you know, why do you have your boots laced out? Well, because I'm trying to drag somebody's face down those boots, those laces. Just little things like that.
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't think of it this way as in wrestling, like you can use your tape as a weapon, and you don't think of it. And it's why it's because it's like those little grooves in your tape where you overlap it. If you
dude, I'm telling you what, that fabric going this way and that way creates little ridges, and dude, if you apply enough pressure, you could legit hurt somebody.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean, you know, you use what Billy Robinson refers to as the cutting bone on your wrist.
Ooh, yeah, that little bad boy.
So it's, you know, you sit there and you rub it. Now you've got that adage of that extra bone that's just
sawing away. But yeah, little that I wasn't necessarily taught when I first started. But these are little psychological traits that I picked up along the way and from different people. So, you know, it was just, I try to do my best to teach people, you know, the way I was taught, the things that I've learned, because, you know, I'm not one of those guys that gatekeep to the point of, you know, nobody else can, you know, like you said earlier, you know, if you're good enough, you're going to have a spot. Yeah. My job as a vet, and what I consider my job as a vet, is to put the next generation over, because that's how wrestling survives. You know, something that I teach somebody, things that I have already taught people are going to be taught to other people. So in that light, you know, my word kind of lives on.
Well,
you know, that hand up to the next generation has kind of been cemented.
I mean, and as you said, put that next generation over. Students getting over and going over does not mean winning the match all the time.
Not at all. Not at all.
Sometimes it is building character, or, you know, you learn more through losses than you do your wins, right?
Right.
I spent a majority of my career on the losing end of things, but when I do win, it means something.
Right.
So sometimes getting over isn't winning. It is, okay, well, what is the next chapter of this story? Like, we expect you to go out here and lose, and then you start pulling out wins and get on a win streak. They're like, oh, hey, he was built through his losses, so that way when y'all do face each other down the line, it's like, oh, he's never beaten this guy. Well, what happens if he beats you? Then, you know, he's climbed that mountain. So there's always stories to be told.
You made a perfect point. You can ask any prize fighter, any MMA fighter, any boxer. You can ask any sports team, any athlete at all, what they learned more from, wins or losses. You know what I'm saying? And I guarantee 90% of them will say, I learned more from my losses than I ever did from my wins.
Well, I mean, like one of Conor McGregor's earliest fights lost because he was catching his breath, and as he was catching his breath, dude came in with a hook and KO'd him.
Right.
And it was like, well, what did we learn? Well, breathe when you throw your punch. And so, I mean, yeah, like you learn a lot through defeats, because that is where you learn what not to do. And sometimes what not to do is it's based on your opponent. And that is kind of where the wrestling psychology comes into it.
Heck yeah. Speaking of that, Jamie, May the 4th be with you. 100 Wrestling in Wynne, Arkansas, May 4th. Just want to throw that out there. Where are you guys going to be this Saturday?
Who, me and Will, or Jamie J?
No. You guys, you and Will.
Well, me and Will are actually going to be at APW this Saturday,
Oh,
and it
right
was
on.
announced earlier that at the Fully Gifted Athletes will be putting our tag team gold up against the Twins of Salem, Jackson
Ooh,
Crowley, and Abel Booker.
that is going to be an interesting match. But
This will be our second time wrestling them, and we have never beaten them in tag team action. So
yeah,
this is
dude, those are some
something.
spooky guys.
Oh yeah, I mean, the last time we were in the ring with them was at Vino's, and that was a wild, wild experience.
Right. What's going on, Mark? Good
So,
seeing you. Glad you could be here tonight.
but that's what we've got going on this Saturday, and then I've got a good couple weeks off, which is needed because heal some injuries back
Oh,
in
for sure, for
January.
sure.
During a match, I thought I'd hyperextended my elbow, and I just threw KT tape over it and worked out on it.
Right.
And what happened was, I had hyperextended my elbow, but I had also partially tore my pec and my
Ooh,
rotator cuff.
dude,
And
I'm
I've been
telling you
like
what.
just stacking KT tape on it. And so when I went to orthopedic doctors and a chiropractor friend of mine, and they're like, "Hey, man, KT tape is cool and all, but that's just at this point, it's like putting a patch on a bald tire. It kind of
Right,
defeats the
right.
purpose."
I'll completely
So
understand that.
they're like rehab it. So that's what I've been doing. It's like I've still been wrestling, but a lot of my tag team matches, I've got a good partner and Will just go in there and get the hell kicked out of him for a little bit. So
Dude, I've been there. In fact, I just got healed up from rotator cuff tear, dude. It's the worst feeling in the world when you it's the worst feeling in the world when you go to give somebody a move and you cannot physically do the move, and it sucks because it's like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Or dude, like, and the weird thing about it is, like, with the rotator cuff injury, it was my right shoulder, so dude, it affected everything. It affected my bumping. It affected my, giving moves, taking moves, how I got into the ring, just everything that I wouldn't even imagine.
oh man, I imagine because you know I don't throw a lot of clotheslines, but while this rotator cuff is messed up, I'm not throwing a lot of clotheslines. Like occasionally I'll throw a lariat, but if I'm instead of a clothesline, I'm giving somebody a back elbow because the force of hitting somebody and the momentum pushing the shoulder back on the pec hurts.
Oh yeah, dude,
Forward is
it's
fine, but I was wrestling Tyler Fox a couple months back, and I went to pick him up for a body slam. And as soon as I grabbed him and ripped him up for it, I felt that bone go rip, or that muscle, and I threw him forward, kicked him in the gut, and gave him a suplex. Why? Because I couldn't, my arm stalled here because it hurt,
oh yeah,
and
dude,
so I had to
like,
get him one, because it is a fight, but it's you also have the safety of somebody else. And at least I knew the alternative was it's more on him to take care of himself, like once I get him at a certain angle,
right, right.
which I knew I could do. But if I can't flip him over and do this for a body slam, then
Yeah, you
it's
you gotta you gotta
doesn't end
completely
well.
you gotta think on the fly and completely alter your set. Just to be the safest possible.
Which that's where the learning through defeat comes in, because even an injury is kind of a defeat. And how is you face defeat up here,
Right, right.
you get in your head. The big wake up call for injuries is for me was when I was going to the gym and I was able to take a 35, 40 pound and curl no problem on this arm. This arm 15 was a struggle, and I couldn't get my arm in a curl position, how you would curl. I could barely get it up to that 90-degree angle and pump out because it just hurt, and pain
Yeah.
shot me there and there. And so like, that'd say, I'm still like mentally struggling with that, if I'm being honest. But at the end of the day, it's that learning. So what did I have to do? Well, now I'm gonna have to learn how to work around this injury because it had healed itself, but it would, with the way it's healed, it may have
Right.
healed wrong. So now I have to work around that, which is no problem at all. It sucks because some of the stuff that I was known to do, I kind of can't do that as often
Right.
now.
Right.
But luckily for me, I've started picking up the brawler aspect of stuff because I'm old and lazy sometimes. So I just throw more punches and back elbows. But as a heel, I can get away with that now. I
Right.
can get
Right.
away with that because I'm not trying to wrestle you. I just want to beat the hell out of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to get
So
that W. But no,
yeah,
and it's I think it's like you said, it's the mental defeat where you have to change everything on the fly about how you do a certain thing, how you approach it, because normally you would approach it this way and you got that muscle memory of doing it a certain way. And then, going into the match, you try to figure out a way to get to work around it. So yeah, I completely get that, dude. Like I got did the physical therapy and I got the steroid injection, and dude, it's good. It's good now. So doesn't take that long actually. So
that might be something I look into. Luckily for me, my appointments went from weekly to bi-weekly, and now now it's monthly. So it's healing and it's progress made. But those my chiropractor's like, well, you can do this, and then a physical therapy friend of mine, I consult with both of them. That
right,
way I can have two different points of view, two different kinds of rehab I can do. But they both gave me this same thing, which is, hey, throw your arms here, put them to the side, press your
yep,
scapula back, come up, basically do the DDP thing, and then come back down. But you have to do it with your back against the wall.
right.
And so, I was talking to my chiropractor, and I go, "Hey, man, I got a question. When you got a fat ass, this is difficult putting your back flat against the wall. How do I work around that?" He's like, "Just put your feet forward." That's all I can say. So, yeah, that's been the struggle. Is like, hey, man, just keeping your feet forward.
Right.
But like, but I think I'm gonna come out on the better end of it, as we all do. You just you kind of work around it, but the break is what I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
because
yeah.
there for like up until like last weekend, the weekend before, maybe like from like late February to mid-April, I was doing 2 and 3 shows in a weekend. So it was, and I mean, not to knock anybody who does it full time, but I mean, I'm working, at that point I was working 2 jobs and hitting the gym and then wrestling regularly, and all while trying to maintain a healthy home life too.
Right,
So,
right.
you only get so much time in a day. So,
Oh, for
but I
sure, dude.
mean,
I know the
this
struggle, and I'm
break
sure
is
well needed.
yeah, oh, well needed for sure.
Well needed and well deserved, because like I said, you guys have been, or like you said, you guys have been blazing a trail and just rocking and rolling.
Oh yeah, and like the one thing that we've been trying to do is like when we go to Diamond State, we have Dre Sean riding in the car with us. When we go to APW, if we don't have another wrestler riding with us, we'll have a friend of ours that ride with us. But we've been very adamant on trying to get younger guys in the car with us,
Right, right.
and I drive a little Chevy Spark, so soon if we keep getting younger guys with us, we're gonna have to get in Zeke's van that
Right, right.
I love affectionately dubbed the Shaggin' Wagon. So just
little
to
little
get around,
PS
but
Sorry.
like the one thing that was really cool about guys like Draven, and that I've seen you do as well, as you've taken young guys with you to other
Right,
shows,
right,
network, and to see that like not every locker room is the same.
right,
So that's
right.
what we've been trying to do, and there are no small parts. And luckily enough for Tyler Fox, we just so happened, I think Diamond State had a call out, and so me and him were both there, and we got to wrestle a match, and that was a kind of a different platform for him to wrestle on,
Right.
and a way for him to learn. And and now like the guy makes so much strides, or has, he's making great progress. Like every match that man will have watched him in. And there's another guy to be on the lookout for named Avrion Gray.
Yes.
And that guy is a fucking, pardon my French, is a beast. And it's like, this, like, I would like to have a match with him one day, because he, like, even the talks outside, he's a big, old, all Japan fan like myself. So it's like, oh man, you throw those big lariats and stuff. I want to calm down, buddy. But I would love to have like one of those kinds of matches.
Right,
Well,
right.
and like
So
there's a crop of young talent everywhere
yes,
that I'm
so
ready to see. Just
so
go.
real quick, uh PSA for all you young guys out there, if you're listening, get in a car. If the opportunity arises for you to get in a car, get in it. If you got to throw some money for gas, man, throw that damn money, get in the car, go some places, do some things. You know what I'm
Oh yeah,
saying?
because you never know where it'll land you. And
Absolutely.
also, my trainers could not stress this enough for me. Bring your gear. Bring your gear.
Every
Always have
single
your
show.
gear, because one of those car rides might end up for an opportunity with you. And the thing is if you blow it, then chances are promoter's going to be like, well, hey, look, you don't have a lot of experience, but I want to bring you back. You were here. But I mean, if you do great, guess what? You're now like, hey, I want to bring you back more. So I mean,
Right, right. You
uh,
never know when the opportunity is going to arise.
oh
Always bring
yeah,
your gear. And if somebody says, "Hey man, why don't you come in with me this weekend? I've got an open seat." Just get in the thing.
yes. And like Bruce said, if you've got to throw some gas, throw some gas. But I mean, you learn just as much on car rides too.
Oh,
Um,
dude,
you know,
I can't stress this enough. Uh, car rides in general, the A to B, from A to B on your way to B, dude. I've learned more from just sitting and listening to guys talk about wrestling than I did from getting in the ring and working out. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of that stuff is just refreshers and just, hey, there's a cool way of doing this that I didn't know before. But when you learn, like, right, Chris, absolutely, it's a brotherhood. When you can get in a car and you can learn psychology that you wouldn't normally get when you're training, because normally when you're training, you're going over techniques, you're going over footwork, you're going over hand placement, you're going over all this stuff, ring awareness, and psychology sometimes, with time constraints, psychology can kind of get put to the side.
yeah.
But when you can get in a car and just like with like-minded individuals and talk wrestling, dude, it helps.
It,
It
it
definitely helps.
it does. And then the funny thing is, that's just from A to B. When you get from B to A, going back, you reflect on the show, and then that's when you can ask questions. And
Right.
if you ride with somebody, if you ride with a vet, chances are they're going to be watching your match to give you critique, especially if you're a newer guy. There's probably going to be a lot of guys back there watching your match, just because, like, if you go out there and kill it, then you've got these guys that are going up to the promoter. I can do something with him,
Right, right.
or
And
him or her.
sometimes, and
I can do something.
sometimes all it'll take is just that one. See, there might be somebody in the back that you didn't say one word to other than "Hi, I'm so and shook their hand. But just that interaction alone, they could have missed your match because they're talking about talking through their match, or working on different things. And then, on the ride home, they're like, oh my gosh, that guy was really respectful. Man, I'd like to see what he can do in the ring. And then they watch, if the match is filmed, they watch your stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely could work with this guy. It's happened to me. It's happened to me more times than I can count.
Man. So, I've it's happened to me where I've been like, hey, can I work more with this person because I feel like we could really do something here. One guy I'll put over right now. He's on a wrestling hiatus because of some personal issues. Guy named Nate Dynamo for CKW, or Soar. He's a great kid. I got to wrestle him twice, and I remember pulling the promoter side, like, look, if I can get one more match with him for this trilogy, great. Because the first time we wrestled just a really basic match, but we did less is more, did some cool stuff. The second match, guess what? We almost had that same match. However, every time we did something from the match before, it led to a counter because it's like, oh, they've wrestled each other before, so they know what's coming next. So
Right,
then
right.
when you wrestle that next person, it's counter, 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 and but something I want to start doing, especially when me and Will do some seminars or have like a smaller class, is I want to do mock matches, obviously, because that's where you can learn too. But I want to film the mock matches, give them a time limit, maybe give them a particular finish to hit if they can do it. Um, then film it, sit with them, and then everybody else, and look at that match and review it and critique them. Don't shit on them, but critique them and be like, like, hey, this you did this here. Maybe wait and put that here because this could build right here. And
Right.
just kind of like because then now you're watching them as they go, they're watching themselves. So now they're going to know what to look for if they go back and watch match footage of themselves. And I wished I would have had somebody to do that with me. Me and Will do that because I'm my own worst critic. So if I even like step like 3 inches to the left, I'll sit there and be like, that sucked. That sucked. I can
Right,
do so
right.
much better. So,
Oh,
uh,
dude, anybody that cares about the sport and cares about being an entertainer automatically does that. Uh, but yeah, I tell guys all the time, like, until you've reached a certain point, don't even try to self critique yourself. Send your match out. Find some guys that you look for guys that you want to work, guys that you've worked on shows with, and just send them a message. Hey, can I send you a match? Can you critique this match? 90% of the
oh,
time, 90% of the time, guys will be like, hell yeah, send it.
yeah. Well, I mean, after my match with Luke Langley, I'm like, hey, man, you care if I go through some catalogs of my matches and send them your way and check them out? And his exact words was, hey, I may not be able to watch them immediately, but I will watch them and I will critique them for you. Be more than happy. Some of them will be they're happier than a pig in crap doing it.
Right. Oh, for sure.
And I mean, you could very right, Chris. It is if a vet can point the things out, but as Bruce was saying, explain it. I've seen guys in a locker room just sit there and yell psychology at a
Right,
guy
right.
for a bad match, and it's like it was a triple threat match or triple threat tag team, two heel tag teams and a babyface tag team. And he just yelled psychology, and the guy's like, the only psychology we have in the match is we are two heel teams against a babyface team. The psychology is we have to beat up these guys before we fight each other.
Oh, that's
But
100% facts,
but
Chris.
um Luke Graham, good guy to study. And I think like a lot of the psychology is lost too, in and outside of the ring, whether it be character or storytelling. Wrestling is it's a variety show.
Right, right,
So like so if you're gonna sit there and yell at somebody about something, tell them why.
right,
Then,
and that's what I
and
was. Sorry, go ahead.
then like maybe if you've got like footage of it, you can point it out. So if somebody like
Right.
I
So
remember Austin
that's
O'Malley would ask me to critique some of his matches, and I would timestamp it like, "Hey, pause here. Hey, at 5 minute mark, go back and watch when you did this. If you would have like waited just a couple more seconds, that move would have meant more. Because why? Slow down, let it register." Now, even to this day, I still have to remind myself to slow down.
right.
It's easy to get
Well,
caught.
and that's what I was alluding to earlier. Like vets in a locker room. When I was coming up, I had I had vets that would pull me to the side, or when I would go to them after my match, hey, what could you see that I could have done better? And they would give me a laundry list of things, and I was so excited to get that feedback that I instantaneously, like almost without thinking, auto corrected my situation. Hey, it looks like we got another fella joining in, ladies and gentlemen. He needs no introduction. but no, like I was saying, what's up, man? But I would get no. Can't hear you. I'm reading. Oh shit! I was reading your damn list, dude.
What's going on?
What's up, man? But no,
up,
then I would have those vets that all they did was, "Hey kid, you got to slow down." Well, what am I? Okay, I'll slow down, and then I see them, like let's fast forward a couple of weeks. I see them. I slowed down. Made my stuff slower, more palatable. Come to them after. What'd you think? I slowed down, man. Yeah, you got to slow down more. Look, 12 years in the business, and the first time I heard why you need to slow down in a match was from a Michael Elgin seminar. I shit you not. I'm sitting there in the seminar, and I'm freaking pissed because out of all these years, all I would hear was, "You got to slow down. You got to slow down." But basically, they weren't telling me word one about the point of slowing down. So when I taught people, it was, "Hey man, slow down in your match, because it's like watching your favorite television show, but on fast forward. You miss all the good parts that you remember being good parts, because a wrestling fan knows the moves and knows what's going to happen. But if you speed through it and you completely blow past the punchline, so to speak, they miss that. There's that moment of mistranslation. But it wasn't until that seminar that I found out the reason why you slow down and what was told, and also, unfortunately, the reason why a lot of those old vets would just tell you to slow down without any explanation.
I think and it's crazy because like some of the great matches that have no reaction at all. I was reading something, I think about AEW yesterday. There was like a match on AEW that happened yesterday, and I forgot what it was. And they're like, it was a good enough match. It was a great match. The crowd didn't react to it. And then I'm like, well, I mean, there's some matches that get lost in the shuffle because they don't slow down or they get the time constraints. And it's like, oh, we've got 5 minutes of TV. Get your shit in. And then everybody's like, oh, we got to throw all of this, like my whole move set in here. And then
right.
You have had this conversation of, look, getting your shit in sometimes isn't moves. It's how you sell. It's your character work. It's your cadence, how you present yourself.
Right. When I go into a match, and it's no secret, me and Toomer we're on Memphis television, Memphis Wrestling.
Yeah.
When I go into a match and I've got X amount of minutes,
yeah,
I'm thinking of the high points. I'm thinking of the crescendos. Not so much the not so much the in between, just the high points, because the rest of it is character work. Yeah, it is wrestling and it's entertainment, but you have to look at everything across the board. And if you run over time, you're screwing the guys behind you and you're messing up the whole program.
Man. So I just had a situation where I had to like before I say this, because I'm saying it as a joke, I had to pull my vet card.
Right.
I had to pull my vet card because I remember they said we had like 7 minutes, but within 7 minutes, it was me, my opponent, his 2 stablemates, and their manager, and we had to figure out how to get all of that.
Oh man.
That's
so match wise, bro. Match wise between entrances, bell to bell, and after the bell celebrations, match wise, we only went maybe 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, and that's another crazy thing. Like one thing that I've learned in almost 3 years at Memphis is, like, even on the outside, even outside of Memphis, I factor in our match entrances, because I don't want the fans to miss anything. You know what I'm saying? And even live events, even live crowds, I don't want to take anything away from the match. So, I don't spend a whole large amount of time coming to the ring. I just do what I got to do, and let's ring the bell.
I think that's actually something I really need to think about doing, putting it that way, because again, like, I'm still trying to figure it out, but I put a lot of time in my entrance, and then I go out
right.
there and as a heel, I'll sit there and, like, I'll interact with the crowd and get them hating me. But some of that is even during my entrance. So now it's like, okay, if I ring the bell. And
oh, absolutely, Phil. Sorry, not cutting you off, but absolutely, yeah. Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah, boys. Much love. But no, look, and I've done. I did this thing a couple of years ago. Actually, it was after my first year in Memphis. I broke down a 10-minute match, a 10-minute indie match at a live show, and a 15-minute match, and I factored in everything. I'm like, look, if you get to a show and they say you guys got 10 minutes, I said, factor in each person's entrance, depending on, like, show up early, always show up early, because then you can walk the ring from the curtain to the ring and find out how long it takes you to get from the curtain to the ring. You don't want to spend 5 whole minutes walking to the ring, because if it's announced you've got 10 minutes, then you don't want to screw the fans out of even a second of that 10 minutes. So it breaks it down. I broke it down: entrances, exits, shine, heat, take home. I broke it all down. And I to the guys that I teach, I disseminated it and I let them know. And they're like, oh my gosh, when I hear 15 minutes, I think, oh gosh, I've got to be wrestling for 15 whole minutes. No, bro. You guys know, you got 10 minutes to wrestle, and it takes you
minutes, I know, and depending on
do what?
I say, my bad. It kind of glitched on my end. If I hear 15 minutes, I know I probably get 10.
Right. Because each one of you is going to take at least 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes to walk out.
And then you got to think of the other 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes to celebrate. Even if you've got a post-match promo, like, I don't know how it is there, but is that factored into your time as well? Because I've never worked TV, so
yeah. So everywhere that I've been, they kind of do theirs a little differently. Like, all right, so in Houston, all right, Booker does his completely different than how it is in Memphis. But it seems having that experience from Memphis made that transition into what Booker is doing out there a whole lot easier.
Right.
They give you their cues, tell you what to do. Your interview is either pre-taped or live, just like everybody else. But all right, in Memphis, you'll have a situation where you'll have like 5 to 10 minutes and everything has to be rolled in. But every once in a while, they'll say, hey, you got a 5-minute match. go over, and then you got 3 minutes at the desk. But at any given time, while you're in the middle of the match, the ref will come to you. Hey, man, you got 2 minutes to go home. At any given time,
Right.
And it's crazy because even some of the guys that's still there, I'm not gonna say they don't realize that, but they may not be taking that in.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, and it happens.
And it just is what it is. It's only focused time on each show that's being filmed and taped. And then on top of that, a show that's being edited live on the fly, like it is in Memphis too.
Right,
So,
right.
I was kind of curious about that because I know some places are like, hey, you got a post-match promo as well. Your time is 15 minutes, and sometimes also don't be afraid to ask your 15 minutes bell to bell, curtain to curtain.
Right, and that's another thing that I try to stress as well. And luckily, Memphis has taught me that, bell to bell, curtain to curtain. That's important because a booker may have his show structured in that way, and I try to look like when I broke down the 15-minute indie match. It took guys like it almost short circuited a fuse in their brain because like they were like, oh my gosh, 15 whole minutes of wrestling. You take a 15-minute match and then you're only wrestling for maybe 10. You're like, oh my gosh, this is so much. When I was young in the business, and sometimes I still catch myself starting to do it, and then I get that brain, it starts to work, and I'm like, okay, so it's not that long. You take a young guy, and when I was younger, when I saw by my name, 15 minutes, I'm thinking, gosh dang, 15 minutes is a freaking haul. 15 minutes in general is a long time, So
especially if you look and see that, like, if you might be one of the only 2 15-20-minute matches on the card, and there's like 8 to 10, and it's like, why am I getting more time? Well, sometimes it's you're in that spot, or you're in like a certain spot, something's about to happen for an angle, like you need extra time for. But sometimes just having that time is they need a time fill, and they put you in that spot because they know you can fill that time.
Right, and a lot of it is like you said, it's the booker and the promoter recognizing that you could handle that time.
Oh yeah. Which I mean, I don't think I may have went over time once or twice. Luckily for me, I've been I try to go under my time a little bit. Now if there's 3-4 matches ahead of me that's went like under their time, then I'll try to see if I can wiggle my way for more time, just to kind of help pad that down a little bit. But there's been a few times where I've had promoters like, hey, these last 3 matches have went like 5 minutes over. Are you cool with taking your 15, 20 and doing like 6? Yeah, am I still getting paid the same?
Heck yeah, bro.
Right, cool.
But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I like talking to the promoter sometimes to try to figure out exactly what I'm doing. That way, if they say, yeah, I'm thinking you're going blah, 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 I can kind of get a gauge of who I'm working and kind of know their gimmick. All right, so I'm in a situation with the Circus. Their gimmick is a great ass gimmick, and I love their gimmick, but their entrance is long as hell.
Right. So you factor that in.
Yeah, so their entrance alone is anywhere from 3 to 4 minutes.
Well, and like I think the way you're going with this, you don't want to take anything away from their, your entrance. Yours is a already hype. Let's do this. I'm all about the business. Come to the ring, ring the bell.
Mm-hmm.
Well, theirs is more of a, it's more of the righteous path as well. We have a pretty long entrance. We've shortened it up a lot, but when you go into a match like that and it says, whatever time it says next to your name, you factor that in. So I love that you do that, and a lot of other people do as well. Hey, what's going on, Alice?
Something that there's been a few seminars that I went to that like spoke to me, and one of them I think it was Fred Brosher was talking about like the thing you face a lot on the indies is during your entrance you have people that'll make a whole circle around the ring and circle back around almost by the entryway. He's like, look, man, you can get the same like message across if you do a half circle. Like you don't have to slap everybody's hands. You can do that on the way out, you know. So I thought it was really cool to like that. Like, there's been a few things that like I do now that I haven't really thought about before, and then now like I've started doing it a couple times, and now it's become like a second nature. But like it's just crazy to think like if you take out that half circle, that's almost like 30-40 seconds you're taking.
Right.
Just for a half circle. Like
Yep.
most rings are standard 16 by 16. So it's like, oh, it's not that I'm ignoring you. I have to do this to get this shot here. I can still pander to the crowd. But it's like, if you don't pander to this area of the audience, well, how do you make up for it? Once you hit the ring, face them.
Right.
Now you've hit your A, B, and C.
So what you just said, and I'm gonna call something out that a lot of people don't even realize that it happened, and I didn't even realize it until we started learning a lot of the shit that we're learning now. John Cena was the master at this shit because he'd slide in the ring, and what he'd do, he'd turn around back to the camera, fucking with the crowd, and then he'd take the hat off and then turn around to the camera and throw up the signature shit. But
because like
him
when he
turning to face the crowd with that acknowledgement.
Right.
Oh, yeah, because when he slides in and he gets up, he's already facing this side, and then he'll face this side back in. Then when he throws and makes that final circle, well, now he's acknowledging this, the little miniature parts of the crowd next to the stage. But now all the crowd is seeing his merch essentially too, is all sides of his merch. So when he goes to throw the hat, like that's a very good way to look at it too. Like I guess now that we're talking about it, now that you brought it up to me, that's a really good point to even like tell a student as well during their entrance. Is like, look at a John Cena entrance.
Yep.
Like, it may take a minute, because he's the most over guy on the card and he's your top guy. And he's John Cena. I mean, you really gonna tell John Cena, hey, cut out 2 minutes of his entrance? No, you're wrestling John Cena. He's making your paycheck for you.
Hey, that man faked the bathroom break so that the Funkasaurus could do his dance entrance.
Right.
So the man can still get paycheck. Like,
yeah. So
right.
It's just crazy how like all these little things like add up to so much, and you don't think about how much they add to it. And it's Toomer already like had his own thing going, but once he started doing the fat jitsu thing, now it's like it becomes all inclusive. And then one of the things I've been reading about is the best way to sell wrestling merch is to make merch that doesn't look like actual wrestling merch.
Yes.
And so, fat jitsu, it's like, well, what is that? Well, it's wrestling, but outside of that, somebody on the street will see that and be like, oh,
exactly.
Is this like fat guy martial arts and stuff like that? Is it funny? Well, look it up,
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. What's been working for me crazy lately is flipping like the old school classic wrestling designs. Like so I stole the Vino's war shit.
Yeah. Well, you threw that on your gear too, which I thought was cool as hell.
And then what else? I did the D-Generation Fat.
Yep.
I just did the Mick Foley joint. Shit.
Also, side note, I'm gonna go ahead and put you over this gentleman, K Toomer. This SOB is always grinding on something and does like his screen printing and stuff like that. So, dude is always grinding, and I'll be in a group chat and I'm just like, man, does this motherfucker ever sleep?
No,
I
no.
Oh, my boss ain't watching this, but I sleep my first 4 hours at work.
Hey man, look, I get
Well,
that. Some
well,
days you get those slow
one
days,
thing, look,
especially
like one thing that you have to look at, and this is, to me, this is the whole merch thing. It's all about brand recognition.
Mhm.
When somebody sees something, and I use this example until I'm blue in the face, and I'll continue to use this. If your mom's favorite laundry detergent is Tide with bleach, and you happen to come up with a logo that looks like Tide with bleach from a distance, and then you get up on it and it's a freaking, you know, if it's a fat jitsu thing, the fact that, you know, oh crap, that's my mom's favorite laundry detergent, I'm gonna buy that shirt. Guess
Mhm.
what you have just, you've made it. You know what I'm saying? This logo here, you guys have been to a Buc-ee's. They slap
Yep.
this logo on everything.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm already thinking about stealing it. Put a red
Dude.
bandana on it like this.
Heck yeah, dude. Dude, I did one for the Werewolf. Instead of Buc-ee's, it says Wolfies. I just haven't got it done yet. I'm lazy, I guess.
But with that brand recognition, even with the stuff that we do in the ring. All right, so the show enough stuff, I'm not gonna lie to you. I pulled that out my ass because I showed up and they was like, "Hey, some things are going wrong. We need a promo." And I was like, "Okay, what can I say?" And at the time, I was doing the whole Ivan Drago, put me with him. If he dies, he dies. And they were bringing in Lance Archer, and his thing was everybody dies, and I'm like, similar. And they had the mic on me, and I was like, show enough. And I literally did the thing for the Last Dragon, and they was like, what the hell? Keep that. And then it just
right.
But it's the call and response, like R-Truth doing the what's up, Austin doing the what chant, Rock doing the if you smell. Like that
well, I
shit
mean,
it's been engraved in our heads so much that we, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Generation X proudly presents to you. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, even Bruce, like to his credit, like when he's doing the Werewolf thing, all he has to do is go out there and do the howl,
yep.
and then now
Oh,
he's
dude.
got the crowd chant.
My entrance music has a howl at the beginning. As soon as that you hear that howl, dude, the crowd pops. They automatically howl, and it's like, because they know what they're gonna get, and it's like, hell yeah, that gets me pumped. They're pumped. The Buc-ee's thing, BUC/CEES. Dude, I could totally see a show enough, because there's a hyphen between there.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I just bought some red stuff. I'm fitting it. Oh, when we get off, I'm hopping on my green screen.
I'm telling you, dude.
So-
I'm telling you, it's everything, you know, and a lot of guys don't understand or don't know how to do it, you know, or how to, they have an idea, but they don't have a means, or they don't have they don't want to. Dude, I seen a dude, Dexter, can't remember his last name. Awesome wrestler, Oklahoma, Texas, you know, all over the place. And he did the Buc-ee's logo. I was down in Soar and I seen it. I'm like, holy freaking crap, dude! It's brand recognition. You know, you took a logo, you altered it, you made it your own, and now you're selling it, and people are buying it.
Yep.
Because
well, I mean, you remember
at the end
the
of
Ratitude era stuff?
Oh yeah, dude.
Like I did the GB with the old WWF logo.
Oh, dude,
like,
when my
favorite things I did.
when my gym jug broke, I saved the freaking the Ratitude thing, dude. I was 100% Dexter Hardaway. That's the guy. That's him.
Yeah.
Dex, if you ever are watching some silly podcasts and you see this, what's up, bro? I miss you.
Oh yeah. But no, like I even did my own thing now with the whole punk rock strong style. You had everybody like doing their Texas strong style, Tennessee strong style, regular. And it's like, punk rock strong style. Well, what was the difference? Well, it's none of it's perfect. It's a little more sloppy, but now it kind of makes sense. But like now it's like the thing that's become my logo is the cross turnbuckles with my little like tributes to my other animals, and then my cat there in the skull.
Right.
And then you're talking about brand recognition. I'll plug it. It's we don't have the design up yet.
What's up, Peter? What's happening, bro?
What's up, Peter? Me and Will have a new FGA shirt coming out, like our first official brand shirt, and it's actually a Beavis and Butthead, but it's me and Will as Beavis and Butthead. With both of us have Creed shirts on instead of and AC/DC, and it's just FGA Beckett and Blackwell in the Beavis and Butthead font. And I told Will, what we need to do with that is we need to find somebody, because Mike Judge isn't on Cameo, but an impersonator to do Beavis and Butthead, just so we can have somebody be like, Beckett and Blackwell, these guys fuck. And then come into
oh, dude,
truck.
Can you imagine if you threw that at the beginning of an entrance theme?
Oh yeah, especially like with like the 90s kid fans and stuff, 80s and 90s kids that grew up with Beavis and Butthead.
Yes.
Just like me and Will have thought about that, just because like it's fun and it's wrestling.
It's fun. Oh, dude, it's nostalgia, bro.
Now would be the perfect time to do that, because Saturday Night Live just did a skit about AI.
Yes.
Ryan Gosling and Mikey Day dress up as Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, dude, it was so crazy, dude. Everybody was breaking character right and left. It was nutty.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Kenan and I forgot her name. They never break character, but they
right.
They broke up that one last weekend.
Yeah, no. Well, me and Will got to put the design up for it, and I think the thing we're debating on is, are we want to do a solid T-shirt, or do we want to do a tie-dye T-shirt? Just for the hell of it. The problem is like if you get it made, like you got to think of the pricing. So I figure the solid would be the best way to go. And then like if you're like making them yourself, it's a lot easier to go grab a solid T-shirt than it is just a tie-dye.
Man,
yeah.
Hey, when we get off air, I'll give you the game on the T-shirt stuff, because bro, I'm gonna save y'all some money.
Oh, for sure. Like I said, I think it again, it'd be the whole Beavis and Butthead thing is and that's just an idea too, like especially if you talk amongst like friends, right? Like that was just an idea. I was gonna, like, once I'd done this vacation that I'm gonna take, once I got back, I was just gonna come back, throw money and an idea out. Well, I told a friend about it, and then he's like, oh, by the way, I got y'all boys something. And I'm like, what? Man, you already do so much for us. And then he paid our buddy Lucas for this graphic. And I'm like, oh, man, I love it.
Hold on, I'll be right back. I literally just did a tie-dye shirt for somebody, for Lewis.
Oh, heck yeah, dude.
Got to see that. Right, but, like, so I'm going to give it Blackwell, see what he wants to charge on these, so me and him can get our pre-order window open, but two, see how many extra we want to get.
Okay, so I did this I don't know if you could see it too well.
Yeah, the beer 30 Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, dude, I did that 5 years ago. We never made them shirts, but I even did a black and white version.
Oh, nice. I like that too.
Oh yeah, dude, that is dope.
So I don't know how well you can see that, but this is the
heck yeah, dude. Dude, that is so freaking wild, dude.
And so like it's the Lamani, you big dummy. Man, dude, I've been on a tear watching. I love it. I've been on a tear watching old 70s and 80s TV shows and movies, especially comedies, from Sanford and Son to watching Cheech and Chong.
Bro, because Sanford and Son had the best rips Sanford and Son had the best rips, and like it was another show that Fred Sanford was on where it was like a variety show, and it was the mom from Family Matters when she was heavier. They was a married couple and he was going back and forth. She was like, "Yeah, my ankles are tired and I'm tired of dealing with you." And he was like, "Yeah, you need to be tired of all that weight."
Man, here's the thing, like it makes sense now because I think about like watching Bob Saget as Danny Tanner and then seeing his stand-up comedy.
Oh, dude, that
same way about Red Fox, and then I watched his stand-up. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this dude relentless in his stand-up.
right.
So, I mean, this guy was doing Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor before Murphy and Pryor were doing it, and so I mean, like, I really enjoy his stand-up in general, and but I mean, it's just like you know, even some of this stuff now. You were talking about the rips and stuff from Sanford and Son. You could do that to this day, and like a modern audience probably might not know what that came from. But then it's like, oh, that's a Sanford and Son reference. So, you know, so what's old becomes new again. That's you watch a William Blackwell match, and this guy is doing a lot of like old All Japan wrestling, British wrestling.
Bro, I even did Powerpuff Girls. I don't know if you could see that too well.
Yeah, that's dope.
Oh,
that's dope. Man,
so yeah, as guys that have done your own designs, how many of your own designs have you done that hasn't seen the light of day?
Oh, dude. Yeah, way too many. I had almost 16 gigs of just designs that I put through, and we approved them, but it just didn't fit the situation.
Like this is my external hard drive. I know it's at least a gig of just images. So what I do is, all right. So I if anybody listening who do merch, pay attention to what I'm finna say. All right. So if you're working the same show, if Bruce, you bought that Bucky shirt. So next time you go to Bucky's, you're not gonna buy that shirt again unless you just absolutely lose that one.
Right.
So I put it in my mind like, hey, they already bought it. I got to keep coming with something new, like a new pair of shoes every few months. So every few shows, I show up with a totally new design. But what I do is, all right, in Memphis, we can kind of cheat because we had the VIP and the meet and greet stuff before the actual show goes on. I can wear their merch myself in front of the crowd, in front of everybody. And then people, I don't want to say I got them trained, but I already got them. They already know that, hey, every couple of shows, Tumor is going to have a different shirt on. And when they see it, hey, I like this shirt. You got something for sale? Not today, but let me know what's going on. If you want one, I can make you one. That's how I know how many to make. And then I come home, take them to the next show, sell out of those. But every few shows, if I'm working the same spot, every few shows, I try to have a different design. But whatever I don't sell, I can stockpile all of that, take it to like another show, like in Tuckerman, and lay all that shit out on the table at once and have a big variety.
Right.
For people to go. So
I finally sold out of my the punk rock strong style shirts. I mean, I'd been sitting on these last like 5 for a bit. But like I'd had like 10 left, and so what I did is, and something I would recommend, like sometimes you have to bite the bullet, and if you don't like sell out, then offer like a previous design but lower the price of it.
Oh yeah, dude.
Then you can offload it or do like a, hey, if you buy 2 of this new design, I'll throw an old design in there for nothing. Or, you know, do what I do when I do 8x10s in a shirt is, yeah, you did, Clown. I think you bought one for you and your son, I believe.
Hey, so I kind of cheat. So, hey, you just said he bought one for him and his son. So I have like a bag full of Naruto headbands. And I will find one kid and I will give that kid a headband, sometimes 2, maybe 3. They're gonna run around and take pictures and show out with all the other kids, and those kids are gonna be like, "What's that? I want one too." Mommy, daddy, let's go to the merch table. Hey, how much of
Right.
those earbands? Earbands are $3. Hey man, how much of these shirts? Hey, my shirts are 50, one for 15, two for 25. Let me go and get 2 of those shirts on top of that.
Oh yeah.
Right. Right.
Man,
and
I've
without
had
and
people buy
without you know,
stickers, 8x10s, and I'm like, hey, look, if you buy a my shirts are 20, 8x10s are 5, and stickers are 2. But if you buy a shirt, you get a sticker. You buy an 8x10 or 2 8x10s, you get a sticker. You buy an 8x10 and a shirt, and I'm and a sticker. I might just be like, hey, look, let's do 25 for the whole lot still, like, don't be afraid to negotiate, don't undercut yourself, but you
Mhm.
know if you're feeling generous or something, sometimes you got to do that, especially the best time to negotiate is around holiday seasons in
Yep.
wrestling, because people are going to want to buy it, but what are people going to be really stingy about around holiday season's money? So it's
right,
like, oh
right.
well, hey, look, I can, be willing to work with people, but don't undercut yourself to where you lose money either. Because at the
Yep.
end of the day, we all want to make money doing this too. So
I ain't gonna lie to you. It's the same way with promoters who we taking bookings. Like, I just had somebody wanted me to drive to Nebraska. And he was like, "Man, I can only offer you $100. I can't do it. You want me to
Right.
drive 12 hours for $100? I'm sorry, I can't." Well, it depends on the event. So,
Agreed.
so when people hit me up for bookings, and I know this finna sound like I'm on the high horse, but when people hit me up for bookings, I ask them, "Who am I working? Can you send me footage of their work, and can you send me footage of your event?" In that, I'm watching to see how this guy works in the ring. I mean, we all study everything wrestling wise, but I study future opponents that I never worked. Like I'm watching football tapes, but I'm also watching footage from those previous events of whatever company that I'm working. I'm watching the crowd to see, hey, what this crowd like, what they don't like, what are they popping to, what are they reacting to. More importantly, is it enough people there to where I think I can make something? That way I can give the promoter a cut. If I go to EPW in Mississippi, I don't got to worry about nothing. Because I know they're going to take care of me PO wise for getting down there. 9 times out of 10, they're going to take care of a hotel for me. And then on top of that, whatever I make on merch is whatever I make on merch.
yeah, you got to something else that I've ran into at a couple of shows. I remember one, and I'm glad they don't do it anymore, but I remember there for a while they charged you to rent out a merch table, and I'm like,
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think I
and
know
I'm
who you're
like,
talking to.
it's like, look, man, like if you're taking a pay cut and you're paying your roster or this guy X amount, if you rent merch from their table, or if they rent a merch table from you, chances are it's like that might be that person's PO and then some. And now the only money they're making is off merch. And sometimes that's merch is really where it's at anyway. But it's like, oh man, just, like cut a guy a break too. And then I've had like one or two promoters like ask me about like, well, if you sell some merch, can we have a percentage? And I'm like, did you help pay for this?
Right, right.
No,
Look,
fuck
and
no.
at a lot of
Unfortunately,
places,
no.
a lot of places, have you've done the thing. I mean, you guys have probably both done the thing where you guarantee for a certain amount, and then at the end of the night, you're putting up your merch, and then the promoter comes in, and is like, "Hey, man, looks like you made a pretty good amount of money on merch. I'm gonna have to drop your PO," and then you're
Hey,
like, see about that.
I'm gonna have to take some home.
Right, right.
Exactly. I had a show that I wrestled a couple months back, and I was a last second add on, and but the guy, like, I went to go talk about money, and then the guy was like, "Well, no, we did. We talked about you wrestling and not getting paid." And I remember telling Will, I go, "If that guy didn't pay me, this was a ring he rented, and that canvas probably would have came home with me."
Right.
Then I would have stole his tie and jacket too, because that would have also came off.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Last year I had a booking, and I was super proud about the booking too, because it was in Atlanta during Black History Month, during Juneteenth celebration, and the promoter he disappeared. He just left, vanished. Didn't respond to me or anybody else until like 2 days later, and then I was out on the way home. I was conflicted. I was like, man, should I call this out? Should I say something? Should I post something? But dude was steady posting pictures and talking about the event like it was this huge success when we know it was a clusterfuck. So I was like, hey, it's crazy. We can do all this posting and promoting and stuff, but we can't answer a text message about getting paid. But what make it even worse is when I was face to face and brought up, hey, you said you was coming right back and you disappeared. That turned into like a little ordeal to where I guess it picked up enough steam to where a few people started stepping up and were like, hey man, you need to pay this man because you had him come from Arkansas all the way to Georgia for nothing. And it wasn't just me. You wasted my time. Clown was with me. You wasted Clown's time. Hell, when we got there, bro, dude didn't even have anybody to unload the ring out the truck. Me and Clown was helping him undo this shit. That's how unorganized it was. So it turned into a thing, and I told him, like, look, bro, you had your mind made up that you wasn't gonna pay me. That's why you felt comfortable doing what you did. We had nothing else to discuss. I had no respect for you anymore. Just let me know when the footage is gonna drop. That footage never dropped. But what did was the fact that I posted about it on Twitter. Other people started speaking up about it to the fact of where a blog site in Georgia that followed Georgia wrestling, they picked it up. And they started calling them out like, yeah, they were like, hey, it happened with me, Jacob, Myron Reed. It was a list of people that he didn't pay. So
man, I hate that. It's like all while there's stuff like that happening, all while there's a big debate over a $20 PO that's been the trending topic, and I'm like, man, look, let's get on the subject about trending topics that matter, like the whole woman in the bear or man and bear situation. Why a woman would choose to hang out with a bear if they came across with a bear in the woods than a man. Like more important and pressing topics than that's the real question.
And look, in some circles, I've been called a bear, and I'm a nice guy. Just want to put that out there.
Well, but Bruce, I think you're being referred to as a bear in amongst a community.
Look, and I'm absolutely fine. I'm absolutely fine. You see what I did there?
Man, this thing, you're gonna be getting asked to do take bookings in some old dude garage.
Oh, there you go. That's the pin me pay me situation, I guess.
Man,
look, I got no problem with that. I'm cool with that.
Hey, but sometimes, I mean, with doing the bookings and stuff, man, you got to be careful of like certain stuff. Like, I mean, all right, I know I'm gonna get some heat for what I posted last night. Did you read that?
I did. I absolutely loved it.
I know I'm gonna get some heat from it for certain people though, because they're not gonna understand.
No, not at all.
I said that, or what the purpose behind saying, "Hey, I'm willing to come to your company and work a match." This ain't shitting on nobody, but I feel like it's 5 to 10 people wrestling wise that are doing our jobs to legitimize what we're doing in Arkansas. There's me, y'all, Will, David, Xander. Who else? I could throw Mike in there.
Yeah.
Who else would I throw in there? But I'd
throw Matt Williams in there.
I throw Matt Williams in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Gaston. And I haven't talked to this person in a long time, but I'm gonna throw him in the list because I feel like without him, the traveling and moving around wouldn't be as prevalent as it is with some of us. I'm gonna throw Matt Odom in there too.
Yeah.
So I look at it like you got a small circle of people who were quintessentially, if you think about it, the ones that everybody tried to push away in certain situations. We're now the ones that are, even though we may not be directly working with certain companies, we're trying to do something that's for the betterment of everybody, not just saying, oh, I'm doing this for myself, blah, blah, blah. Neither one of us has a problem putting anybody over depending on the situation. Neither one of us have a problem working damn near any show under any situation. As long as it's right and we all promote our ass off. I want to know why I answer my friend quick. I already got 5,000 friends.
Yeah. I've hit that point. I have to go through and get rid of I guess you would call them spam accounts.
Either that or
I got some people. Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm. Yeah, another duplicate accounts. Oh man, it's crazy
for the week, and I'm just like, write your damn password down at this point. Yeah, it's
right.
But just,
hey, what's going on, Sam? Good seeing you, man.
What's up, Sam?
Look, if y'all guys are just now tuning in, like I know I should have called this the wrestling episode. I'm not alone. I've got two freaking kick-ass dudes that are helping me keep this thing running. With them and with like Toomer said, a small handful of guys, I'll go out on a limb and say that we're carrying Arkansas wrestling in a lot of ways.
And that's not the shit on anybody who I
no,
didn't like that.
Absolutely not.
Because I'll put it like this: Crash Cash, the work that Sam do.
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. Mark,
the way that he promotes.
Yeah, dude does. He's doing
Mark right here, dude.
Too. Dude has papered Little Rock.
Oh my gosh, dude! I cannot begin to stress the importance of what Sam does. Guys like Mark, I see posts from Mark every day. Not just one company, but dude puts over every company, and he lives in New York. You know what I'm saying? Dude's a legit fan of wrestling. And I'm not saying I'm not taking the full weight of on our shoulders alone of carrying Arkansas wrestling, but we are the guys that we wished we had when we were coming up to these young guys.
And that's exactly what it is. Like I'm not gonna go into detail, but you know some of the stories. Hey, Grayson, shit, you was there from day one of me stepping foot in the ring training, so. And I know what happened with you, and you know a lot of stuff of what happened with me. Like, they say when you a kid and you don't have certain things growing up, you grow into the person that you wish you had. And I feel like all of us kind of matured in our own little way of, and this ain't a dig at nobody. I feel like all
not
of
at all.
Kind of grown and in our own way, either the trainer or the support system that we wish we had.
Clown, thanks for putting that out there, dude. Buck is doing. He's doing great things.
Yep. Yeah, no, and that's the thing is like Buck Skinner is a guy that he's doing great things. He comes back to Arkansas. He promotes his ass off when he's
dude. I'm telling you what, like that's exactly right. You know, when you don't have that type of growing up, when you don't have that type of stability, you grow up into the type of stability that you wish you had. So that the guys coming up behind you have that strong base. Yep. And I hear this constantly. Me personally, you guys know my whole mental situation. I don't like to put myself over, but I like to put everybody else over. So when somebody says that about me, I'm just like, oh shucks, nah, I'm just a normal guy. But I get it, you know, I see it, and I'm glad that people look at me like that, and I'm glad that they look up to y'all guys as well.
Man, I just want to do stuff the right way. Like I remember we had a little situation with somebody a while ago, and I called heat because I made the statement like, look, I'm not from this imaginary wrestling world. So I get a lot of people saying this is business, but a lot of people that are in this don't have any kind of business background at all for anything outside of working the night shift at a gas station. And
right.
That's not a dig at anybody. It's just telling the truth. So I'm like, hey, I had this background from another field that I was in, and I'm seeing a lot of parallels. because I went through certain shit there doesn't mean I have to do the same shit here. So I started speaking about certain things, and I made the statement was like, hey, I'm not from this wrestling world. I will handle my shit if I need to. And I caught a lot of heat for this shit. Now, look at what we're doing now.
Right.
By staying on our toes, finally getting fed up and saying, hey, I'm not dealing with this shit no more. And really just taking a bet on yourself and branching out. I can honestly tell you, all three of us have been shitted on by somebody at one company at one point in time.
Oh, for sure.
Those people are no longer active.
Not even no longevity there.
People that are active, and it's like this. Kudos to them. My thing was the greatest thing I ever did was leave a certain company just because I went there. And, you know, some of us go to wrestling to escape from the bullshit of everyday life. And then when you start going to a show and you encounter more bullshit there, and it's worse than your everyday life. At that point, it's like, this ain't even fun anymore. And
Man, I'll say it. The fact that we planned for a whole year to do a show out here in Little Rock and we call heat for it.
Yeah.
When the beginning conversations of that was like, hey, this is where we're playing and we want to bring y'all in on it too, when they declined it.
Right.
Yeah. You know,
it teaches you a lesson. And just like me and Cody were talking about earlier, you get that mental defeat and you figure out a way to work around it. And then before too long, that mental defeat is no longer a defeat. And you got the people that tried to defeat you wanting to jump on the wagon.
Hey, but I'm not gonna lie, it's a breath of fresh air whenever you have those experiences and then you start going places. I don't want to say any places ran incorrectly. I don't never want to say that because everywhere is different.
You go to places that appreciate you.
But when you go to places that appreciate you and everybody understands their role and it's not a big ass ego trip.
Right.
It's refreshing, man.
You know, a lot of guys, I guess they didn't make it to that class in training where you keep your ego at the door. You know, one thing that I learned a long time ago, and luckily I learned it, and unfortunately I learned it the hard way. You know, my path in wrestling isn't everybody else's path in wrestling, and you can't shit on the guy that's comfortable doing it once a weekend because you're not comfortable doing it once a weekend, or you can't shit on the guy that's comfortable with working one show for their entire career.
Well, one of the wise men advice I've ever got was on a trip to San Antonio with Gaston of all people. You know, I told him, I go, dude, it upsets me because some people don't want it. They're not going to seminars. They just come and they barely even want to do their training, but they just want to come and wrestle this one show. And it's like, look, it just bugs me that, like, I'm having to sit here and watch them do this. And, you know, I'm not getting anything near what they got. Like, what's up with that? You know, Gaston's like, well, you got to understand, some people, they only do this as a hobby. And then, like, you know, there are people that are like that. Like a very good proponent of that is, and then, you know, once I started seeing how common that was, like, I got a little less mad at it and more understanding over the years. A guy that's got a good work-life balance with wrestling and a healthy relationship, Matt Williams, you know.
Yep.
You know, outside of, you know, dude's got a family and a great, you know, job outside of wrestling, and, you know, he's found a way to get wrestling in there, and he balances that. And sometimes if one thing becomes everything to you, then you become bitter about it, I guess you would say.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a lot of people, and I'm not just speaking from the areas that we worked in the state.
Yeah,
because we've seen it some of everywhere. It's a lot of people who use this as an identity because they may have peaked in high school and never did anything else beyond that. And this wrestling persona is 100% their identity.
Oh, for
right.
sure.
And some people try to hold on. Some people try to hold on to it, man, way farther than it should be. Like it is what it is. I know at some point in time I'm not gonna be in the ring, but because I know that don't mean I got to run around and try to shit on anybody or shit on other companies or hit. I'm never gonna. I don't want to be the man. Well, I could have done this if this happened, guy. I'm
Right.
I'm never gonna be that. But you have some people, unfortunately, that's gonna be their story. Somebody who I'm cool with, I got respect for him, and I wish bro would actually get on his stuff. But every other day I see a post, hey man, the guys I started with, they're doing this, that, and the other, and I'm just sitting on the sidelines. Get active. Because you got the same 4 hours in the day the rest of us do. You have the same accesses and resources to start at grassroots, just like the rest of us.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes you have to go through that. But it's sometimes you got to make your own opportunity. I hate that some of the worst people that Bruce or like Bruce was talking about earlier are the leave your ego at the door people, but they don't heed their own advice.
Right.
And I'm like, wait, man, you should pump the brakes, heart's in the right place, but or head's in the right place, heart isn't. Like, don't jump on people and tell them if you're not going to do that yourself. Don't be a hypocrite. Like we've encountered a lot of different scenarios, like all of us have, and I think we all came out on the better side of it again. We kind of crafted a scene here in Arkansas where now it's one of the things that me and Will have talked about on some car rides is the goal for Arkansas is like you get a bigger indie name and say they're going from Tennessee to Texas and they've got a 3-day loop, one show in Tennessee, one show in Texas, and then there's like in between, and say they were like driving from say they're from like Jersey or something, and they're in Tennessee and then Texas. Well, they're going to be. They don't want to drive all the way back to Jersey. Just drive all the way back down to Texas from Tennessee. So what are they going to do? They might try to find a hot spot just to make some extra money. So like, and one of the things that me and Will were talking about is our goal, at least from our end, is to go around places and develop as wrestlers, but make these places that stop. Or at least make Arkansas a hotbed of that. Now I'm not saying it's every promotion in Arkansas because every state has that one promotion that is just not so great, and it has the potential to be great, but it starts with attitude. But like we've all tried to. Wrestling's popping up all around Arkansas, and I think one of the things that we're trying to do is make it better.
Hey, what's up, Caden?
What's up, Caden?
Yeah, and that's the goal. We want to make Arkansas mean something again. And a lot of places, us growing up in the business, to us it meant something, but there was like a lull, and I feel like there was a lull, and we're trying to do our best to breathe life into it again. Not that it was dying, but
I think the lull came when the athletic commission got involved, because I remember training in Jonesboro for Rodney Mack back in like 08, 09. And this is before the athletic commission even got their hands in wrestling. Mm-hmm. Because like the athletic commission in Arkansas has been in and out of wrestling for years now, but it's like when the athletic commission got involved, then like all these places started going defunct, and then there was a lull because now what's happening? People are don't want to pay the promoter fee or for a promoter's license and show fee and taxes on that. But like it's experience,
right?
Yeah. Now we're kind of experiencing a boom of wrestling.
Oh, for sure. And it's blowing up. And like you were saying, making Arkansas a hub again. it's it's definitely um, you can tell that feeling is there, and every show you go to, you feel that pulse, and you're like, yes, this is it.
Man, but
Well,
getting to do some of the stuff that we're all somewhat have a helping hand in by putting eyes on what we do, and people are realizing like, hey, these guys are legit. Like, there's a lot of people from the Vinos crowd who have never even paid attention to wrestling at all, even from
Right.
WWE, whatever is on TV. Um, I did Corey's podcast, and he was like, dude, I never knew none of this was here. And we just at a show, and you staple the guy's forehead with pizza right in front of my nuts. And I thought it was crazy.
Right.
Situation like that. The thing, I mean, Bruce, you was there. The Travelers game. Man, I can't even describe how that was, bro.
Oh, dude, it was crazy.
And there was a lot of people who did not know that we legit did this, and some of us live in this area. And it's like, I'm glad that it's us doing it opposed to
others.
I'm glad it's us.
Right. And I'm not, and I get where you're going with this. It's not necessarily giving that crowd a bad representation of what wrestling is, but it was our opportunity to give them a good representation of what wrestling is. And I guarantee a lot of those people left that Travelers game wrestling fans, even if they weren't, because a lot of those guys, a lot of those guys, they were there for the ball game, and then they were like, oh, there's wrestling.
Yeah.
What's this?
Well, and then what that did is wrestling at the Travelers game is now they're going to look out for shows around that area.
Oh, for sure.
The
thing is the
Travelers
guys
already
that
talking about
wrestle
bringing
those
us back.
shows,
Yeah.
they wrestle on TV, like,
Well, and I would even
Memphis
say,
wouldn't get TV deals if they weren't good at what they were doing.
right. I didn't actually talk to him specifically, but I talked to a guy who did. Dude, the owner was like, "Oh my gosh, this was amazing. This was amazing. I want y'all guys back." And, that right there.
The season ain't even. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
The season ain't even over yet, but they're already talking about bringing us back.
Oh, dude, they were amazing, and just that whole energy from that show, it got the ball rolling in the right direction for wrestling, because now those people that came to that show, like you said, that aren't wrestling fans are now wrestling fans,
bro. And then on top of that, like, I feel like you and Will, whenever y'all get in doing stuff like this, like, y'all are gonna like blow up to the moon. What we was all right, there was this little blind kid. I'm not gonna say his real name, but he called himself Super Lucha. We made the whole show about him and made the kids day. And
oh, dude,
seeing that he's front row, he front row listening to everything, can't see nothing, but he the most excited kid there. And everybody who went over made sure that at the end of that match, everybody was chanting for him. Like, it's little stuff like that I think wins people over more than what we're doing in the ring, because they see, hey, it's not just look at me. We're finding ways to make the show about them as well too.
Well, I mean, it's those moments that are actually bigger than wrestling itself. You make those moments for somebody else.
And being sorry, go ahead.
The coolest thing that I will actually say is I have it hanging up over here. Is a fan made me this. Not a wrestling fan at all until they came to a show, but it's like they saw what I did, and they saw that I was wearing the CM Punk Trans Pride flag shirt, and and so, like, ever since then, their relative was like, "Hey, this kid really looks up to you," And so because of that, made them a wrestling fan. The other day when I was at Diamond State, they're like, "Oh, I wanted to give you something because you've got me back into art and stuff." So I did like this little bead art thing, and
Oh, dude,
like
that is dope.
did that. So that was like the coolest gift that
Yeah,
I've received from like a fan. So that was my, and I teared up, like looking at it, like I had to fight it back for sure. But it was that moment of, I share the same sentiment with Kazuchika Okada and the. I want to take non-wrestling fans and make them wrestling fans. Like you have wrestling fans there, they're going to come back no matter what. But if you can take a non-wrestling fan and turn them into a wrestling fan, you can almost, that's a whole new core memory for them, because like you think about the matches that made you fall in love with wrestling.
Right.
So
I was
your first exposure,
I was just
And
about to
so-
say that. Thinking back, all of us all of us are wrestling fans, and we can all pinpoint a different moment or a time where we were wrestling fans, or even when we weren't wrestling fans, when we found wrestling, you know what I'm saying, or when wrestling found us. And we can remember that moment. And I can't remember where it was at, but I was at a spot, and somebody was speaking, and they basically made the analogy of a wrestling show and a wrestling match is all about a moment. If you're in the ring and you have that crowd interaction and you create a moment with a fan, that's something that they're going to take away, and it's going to be with them forever. So you with the Super Lucha Kid, that right there, oh my gosh, that's what wrestling is. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, you can probably hear my dogs in the background losing their shit.
Oh yeah.
but-
Because my dog barks too, so they're probably losing their stuff.
But you guys know what I mean. Like creating those moments. Everything, all we have is time on this earth, and then just getting a little a little bit of that, and being able to share that with somebody else. Everything that we do is moments. Your graduation, your when you get married, when you have your first child, all of that stuff sticks with you, and it becomes who you are. So wrestling, if it facilitates creating a moment, it's just boom, it just hits. And that's the allure of wrestling for a lot of us.
Yeah, 100%. Because then it's like once you create those moments and stuff like that, like not only do they remember it, but you remember it too.
Right.
And because it's something special.
It is.
There's just something special about like what we do, that like the miles, the fucking injuries, all of that.
Right. It's all worth it.
The money lost, yeah, no, it's worth it, because like we get to create moments in a similar vein that people before us did for us. So it is it's amazing to see how like even that comes back around, and like grateful to be a part of it, and grateful for it.
Man, now what I some of the stuff that I'm getting fortunate enough to check out is being around some of the people that we grew up watching, and being able to have like genuine conversations with them, like nothing even about wrestling. So
oh, it's a trip, bro. It's a trip.
Yeah.
So
I remember. Sorry.
Go ahead, bro.
No, I can remember one of the earliest conversations I had with a guy that I watched on television. It was I'd probably been in the business for 3 years, and it was with Bill Dundee. Just having a normal man-to-man conversation with him that didn't even involve wrestling. It was like Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
Everything okay?
Yeah, everything's good.
Oh, okay.
On my end, I think.
Yeah. But no,
Tumor.
it was that moment. I don't know. I'm gonna try to add him back and see what's good. Are you good
Yeah,
to come back?
yeah. I don't know what just happened.
Oh shit! Sorry
I
about
don't.
that. But no, like I was saying, you know, it was that moment of getting to sit and have just a regular ass conversation, and not, you know, in my head I was losing my mind, and then, you know, shortly after having a conversation with Jimmy Valiant, it's like guys that I watched on television growing up, and then all of a sudden, you know, it was like a surreal moment where I, you know, because like after it was over with, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just had a conversation with superstar Bill Dundee. I just had a regular ass non wrestling conversation with handsome Jimmy Valiant. You know, it was that weird moment for me.
Man, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Like, wait, so doing music as long as I did, like I was used to being around like celebrities and stuff. Because hey,
Right.
half the time they would come to Little Rock, I was on the security crew. But getting into wrestling, I was never starstruck or anything like that. But like Tommy, when I got to talk to Tommy Dreamer, he said something to me that like put all of this into perspective for me. And I'm pretty sure other people heard people tell stories of like Regal or somebody else selling them this. I asked him straight over, like, hey man, how can I get hired by Impact? Hypothetically. He was like, you really want to know? You want the honest truth? I was like, yeah. He was like, get fired from WWE. And I was like, damn. And he was like, man, you gotta understand, like, a lot of these bigger companies, they're not going to want you unless they see something in you that they can build, or unless you made a name for yourself somewhere else. If you get fired from WWE, that means you was doing something to where they know that you're coachable and you're teachable, because they're not inviting just anybody to those tryouts and those seminars.
Right.
But
Yeah.
on the first end, you know, it's damn near impossible to get into WWE unless, I mean, things are slowly changing now, because I heard they're opening back up and going away from the whole you have to 100% go through the training center and all of that stuff. I mean, you still have to, but it's getting away from the 25-year age limit pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. I just Saturday I just did a Gabe Sapolsky seminar at the School of Morton. Dude, it was eye opening.
Yeah. And Gabe is another one. Gabe will give you all the information in the world if he like you.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of getting away from that 25-year age cap, but it's still damn near impossible to get on their radar, because these NIL deals, they're scamming college kids, and they want to bring people in who have nothing in regards to wrestling.
Yeah,
That way they can build
blank
up
slates.
blank slate.
Yeah.
But they're gonna have those indie guys that are sprinkled in to walk those guys through how to do
Right.
certain stuff and walk them
Right.
through matches and stuff.
Oh yeah. And I mean, again, some of these you're talking about that the next in line thing, the NIL thing. It's crazy. Like how few of those, like you see them, but then like you see the internet freaking out. Like, well, we haven't heard from this person in 6 months. I'm like, man, they are probably right now still doing, like, learning how to do a basic front roll, or
Man,
Yeah.
half of them probably still in college. Half of them
Yep.
probably still in college getting their degrees and everything.
Yeah,
Yep.
they got to finish up, and yeah, because some of these guys too, like if they're, unless it's like a college team, I don't know the logistics of that, but if they're on a college team, sometimes they can't even have jobs, you know,
Right.
Yeah, you can't.
because they're, that's their focus, and I mean WWE is a job, um, so it's you know that's something else I would say to kind of piggyback off what Toomer was saying is new to the business, old to the business, be coachable. It doesn't
Right.
matter,
Right.
5 minutes, 5 years, 50 years. If you're always like ready to learn something new, always be ready to learn something new, I guess you would say, because you're going to learn it whether or not you want to. So it's better to just kind of take the experience and learn
Right.
from it.
And never, wrestling is fluid. Never be married to one specific thing, because things are always changing, you know what I'm saying? And not always everything, but little things here and there, have your like, and again, if you're young and you're watching this, please have a pen and paper out, because this is all stuff that we weren't taught when we first started. All these things that we're talking about right now are things that we have.
Told me that last night.
Yeah.
All of these things that I'm saying are things that I picked up in 15 years, and Cody and Toomer have both picked up over their years, and it's stuff that's made us worlds better than from where we started.
Man, on top of that, like, I get the whole training thing, and I get the whole what's the culture of this is my trainer, do what they say, don't go anywhere else for advice. But not saying while you're training, do what your trainer is telling you to do. But at some point in time, you got to realize certain people everybody has different experiences, and if I call that a lot of stuff that we've been able to do over the past few months, it's gonna sound like I'm telling a bold face ass lie. But we're around certain people who have been there, done that, who are sitting comfortably, who have done everything in the industry, and they're the ones giving those critiques. I remember I had somebody, I ain't gonna call that his name, but we had a match and he shit the bed, and I chewed him out for it. And I was like, bro, you didn't do what we needed to do, and I can tell you didn't want to do the match, so I ended the match in early. Well, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. Well, we got to kick it and learn from Chavo Guerrero, Marty Elias, just did the match for Rhino. Who else? I'm not gonna put his business out, but it's somebody in Memphis right now who was signed to WWE who will come to us and give us tidbits on who to look for, on what to do, how to move, and all this other type stuff. So when we bring it and translate it over here, because you have some people that don't want to book us just to try to say, oh well, this guy don't know what the hell he doing, and try to upshow us. And then when we stand down on it, it's like, hey, bro, you got to understand your experiences are going to be totally different from my experiences.
Right.
I think what's benefiting, and this is kind of to my own horn, and I owe Clown for all this shit too. I think what's benefiting me is the fact that I've been able to post damn near everything that I've done every step of the way online. That way, even if you don't agree with it, you can't argue it.
Right. Because it's there.
Because it's there.
Proof positive.
It's there. Like, me and Mike beat the shit out of each other for 3 months straight. Booker T watched it and said, yeah, I need Fat Jitsu. I've been looking at the phone because I've been texting him throughout this whole time.
Well, I mean, you were posting clips from your vlogs when you were training.
Yeah, when we was training.
Like, you can't, video footage is right there that one, you were doing the training, but two, oh, you saw this on TV. Actually, I've been doing this for a while. This was me doing this in training. Here's this video from like 5 years ago of me doing this. So it's like, so it's like, you kind of left almost like a paper trail. That way people can't contest.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The first time I came to Tuckerman, we walked in that first show, I was like, yeah, because I came with y'all to y'all house. The first show, I was like, why the hell is nobody filming this? Why doesn't nobody know what's going on? And why the hell did it take me so long to find out where to finally go to? And I was like, yeah, if I'm gonna do anything, I know I can at least help out with that while I'm training, which I feel that we did. But it wasn't just me, it was all of us doing the work. It was y'all in the ring because y'all was working before I was. It was y'all in the ring, everybody linking up. Hell, times when I needed rides places, y'all was there for me. Stuff like that. That's stuff that a lot of people ain't gonna get or understand. That we went through and we sacrificed and we did. Like, bro, I was doing all the camera work and wasn't getting paid not a dime for it.
Well, then you were turning around editing the show.
I was turning around editing the show, sending people their clips, and then when I finally said, "Hey, I'm not gonna do the TV format editing anymore," a lot of stuff became he's only focused on himself and he's only pushing and promoting his stuff. Bro, I'm uploading the matches for everybody. You have the same footage that I have.
Yeah.
So you can be pushing and promoting your own stuff. It was a lot of times where I was telling people like, "Hey, I can teach you this video stuff. That way you can edit and clip out your own stuff." Damn near everybody turned me down on it. So it's like, but it ain't just me, it's all of us, man. Like the footage from all of us is there, man. The blueprint that I feel this finna sound like an arrogant ass statement, and I know somebody is gonna have an issue with it. I feel like the visibility that we were able to put on ourselves sparked a lot of other people to finally say, "Hey, we're gonna start stepping our game up visibility wise."
Well, yeah, because it was the again, you said it was the TV style editing and the product. Like some people just go wrestle places. Like it's not uncommon for a place to have great production value, and some people are like, "Hey, I'm fine with whatever pay you give me. I'll go below my normal rate. You've got great footage as long as you get the footage to me."
That's
Because
it.
there's some places that they gatekeep and Bogart footage. There's a gentleman, I won't mention his name, but he's a guy that I'm in a group with in another promotion. He's like, I went and bought a professional camera just so I could record my matches because I deal with a lot of promoters like gatekeeping footage. He's like, and it's
Oh yeah,
ridiculous.
dude. Well, you can't use that footage because it's at my show. Bro, I'm on your show. Okay, that's cool. I'll just record myself.
For real.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I ask people, I'm not gonna say his name because I don't know if it's an issue. I just know he called himself trying to cuss all us out before he stormed out because he was pissed off about something stupid. But he used to be an older gentleman who used to show up at all the shows and help film. Y'all know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
I would take my PO and I would pay him to let me copy the footage. And that's how I was getting like those angles when I wasn't able to be out there on my own. Now, I'm getting to a point now to where it's like, hey, if you ain't got some kind of camera set up a system, I don't want to work the show.
Right. Well,
what's the point?
A lot of I wouldn't. Again, it's not me bashing anybody in general or saying anything bad about any promotion, but it's almost to the point to where like even getting those camera that footage, it's key to a wrestler's development because when you're going to make a highlight reel, like you could have a 10-minute just crap fest, but you have that one angle of you doing one move that's just the best angle that you could have done it, and the only way you get it is with that with that footage. Or if a promoter will put out the whole show in like a whole like 3-hour format, when it's like, hey man, it's not that hard to just press pause and play in between each matches.
Yep. And then on top of that, I mean, the wrestling game is just like the rap game. People will watch your footage and steal your stuff, but if you get that blueprint, if you got prints there, you got the paper trail you spoke of. If it's there, you know where that move came from. I ain't gonna lie, it's somebody on SmackDown where he on NXT now. When I saw him do my move, I was pissed. I was thinking of that move for trying to figure out how to do that for like 3-4 months. How the hell? And then he hit AJ Styles with it on SmackDown, and I was red in the face, like, bro, damn. And it took forever to figure that out.
Right.
No, luckily for me, I keep it basic, so nobody's stealing my stuff. But I have like been on a few shows where I've watched the match and I'm like, oh, I normally do this. Well, this goes out of the repertoire. Time for me to bring back something that I stole from somebody.
well, in that
I
light,
stole that move fair and square.
in that light, it really it keeps you fresh. If you stop doing a move, there was a move that I used to do, Bridges of Osbury Park. Loved that move, used that as a finisher for years. And then I saw that somebody newer was doing it, and I was like, well, back to the drawing board. And I had a lot of guys tell me like, well, why do you even care? It's not like they're ever going to see you. And I'm like, no, that's true, but I don't want somebody to look at something I did and be like, oh, he's copying so and so. Take the move, but make it your own.
Yeah.
I mean,
figure out a way to.
That's what I did with the Busaiku knee. But
right.
Like a lot of my lead up into it now is I love Bruiser Brody, so I do the King Kong knee drop right before I hit that Busaiku, and then before that it's rapid fire headbutts and then a knee trembler. And I think like chaining all of that together helps make that Busaiku knee more effective, because now one, I've got a move I can hit out of anywhere, but two, I've just beat this guy's head in, and so what am I doing? I'm just lining up for the final shot. And so so there is some imitation that can go on, but sometimes it is important to watch other people and what they're doing.
Well,
especially with double downs, man. I watched 3 matches in a row, and I remember Coomer was at one show where we roasted everybody because we thought about the next show putting every match double down, and it was 3 matches in a row, and it was the double clothesline double down.
Oh my gosh, the double clothesline double down.
Like, man, it's almost like
it's almost like nobody's watching the match before them.
Yeah.
What I'm saying? But no, I look at that. I look at that kind of like how I look at merch. It's brand recognition. You take something that somebody does and you modify it, and then it becomes your own.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, y'all probably heard me in the locker room cracking jokes saying this. Like, when you get in the ring, you better not breathe, because that's what I do.
Kind of pull the curtain back a little bit on the Travelers show. Oh, dude, I was over there and I was taking notes. Like, I was like, oh, we're first match. Oh, I'm doing all that stuff. Y'all guys, I think I even said that. Y'all guys better not even breathe, because I'm doing that for this long walk to the ring. I'm doing that the whole way.
Y'all better not think of doing any kind of entrance to the ring. I'm doing that tonight. So.
What I loved about that though that day was being able to jaw jack with y'all in front of people who don't know what we do.
Right.
And then what got them in. Like, when I walk past you, I was like, yeah, you look like the Monopoly man. You just and the girls were like, what the hell? But those girls, they laughed and they stayed.
Right.
So,
oh, dude, Morrow made this little girl cry, and like I felt horrible for it. But again, being the heel, you just had to like. Oh, one of the cops pulled his baton out. I thought we were gonna get got. I was like, somebody film this.
Man, no, I made a kid cry at Diamond State, and so now I've got like a fan of me, I guess you would say, where it's like I made the kid cry, and then I ran into him at intermission, and like I'm like, what are you looking at, you ugly little mutt? Like, just and then eventually the dad's like, hey man, that's enough. And I'm like, oh, okay. I pick up what you're putting down. Do you want some too? Joking around.
Yeah.
But it was
a healthy balance. Yeah.
Look,
it might have been been a quasi stressful moment, but it was
Yeah.
still a moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Guarantee the face came by and made it better.
Well, anytime I see that kid at the show now, he's always got a sign that says something about Grayson bullies children, or like
right.
Like one show they had a birthday party for him, and then he turned around and threw his donut in my face.
Oh my gosh!
So,
but that's the game. That's part of the game we play, man, and that's what it's for. It's like that kid is gonna grow up and remember stuff like that. Like, yeah, my dad used to take me to these wrestling shows, and we used to be able to do this, that, and
yeah. So I mean,
there was this piece of shit there that freaking made me cry, and I got to throw a donut at him, and it was great,
dude. So the whole reason I made him cry was he had a sign because I was wrestling Eric Bronson, said smoking section.
Oh my gosh!
I took his sign with my turnbuckle and ripped it. And then he started crying. Well, then somebody else gave him their sign. I go, here you go. Handed him the sign, ripped the second one, and then just walked off. So I'm like, oh, man. So somebody else gave him the sign, but I didn't rip that one. But I thought about it, and I'm like, nah, man, that's overkill.
Yeah. Well, and you look, that's honestly, that's a part of it. You know, I went to a couple of live events growing up, at the Armory in Jonesboro, and you know, you have those moments where, you know, okay, well, maybe this guy went a little overboard, but then when you look back, you're like, again, that was a moment that I had. You know, yeah, this guy was a dick, but then he got beat up, so it was all worth it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. I just it's funny because I remember this wrestling in Batesville, and this will date how long Matt Williams has been in the business for, because I was like 12 watching him get beat up, but he was doing some real heel stuff as he normally does. So watching him get beat up was like the highlight because he was such a D-bag to me, like as a fan, and then I got to wrestle him, like,
oh, dude, and it's crazy.
20 years down the line, so
you know, so one night I'm sitting in the locker room, and this was just a memory because Dirty Little Dave took me under his wing early on in my career, and he kind of opened up the wrestling world to me, like the whole Mid-South. You know, introduced me to all kinds of people and places that I would have probably eventually got to, but it would have taken me a lot longer. And so we're sitting in the locker room one night, and he pulls his phone out and he whips through his contacts, and he's like, "Hey man, I got Jimmy Hart's phone number." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you do?" So, you know, to kind of one up him, I pull my phone out and I scroll down to his name, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I got Dirty Little Dave's phone number." And he popped hard for it. And me, I'm personally, I'm like, look, I grew up, I watched you wrestle at Ozark Mountain Wrestling, you know, at the Armory in Jonesboro. I watched you on TV. So this for me is a trip. You know, the fact that I'm mentored by a guy who was literally a big part of one of the reasons why I love wrestling in general. You know, to me, that meant the world to me.
Man, it's surreal knowing that it's surreal to me knowing that those moments happen for all of us at some point. All right, so we had a joke. We had a joke because y'all know how my gear used to be. We used to joke about me being African American Joe. But then when I went to AEW and got to talk to Joe and show him some of my stuff, he was like, yeah, keep doing it. Keep wearing this shit. Keep doing everything you're doing. And then getting to talk to other people like Dean Malenko, who like big men don't come off their feet. Then when I did, he was like, yeah, you keep doing this shit. To have those types of moments with those types of people who basically molded a big part of what the industry is today, just to have those moments with them is kind of crazy. And then to come back home and people who may not believe those experiences ever happened will be like, well, you know, you shouldn't do this. And you
right. Like, sorry, when you when I grow up and I'm watching you on TV, then you could tell me what you want to tell me, and I might listen.
Yeah, man. It's amazing, and I think Toomer, to your credit, when somebody says big men shouldn't leave their feet, maybe it's because some of them just aren't good at it.
Like whenever people tell me that, I'll be like, all right, so what do you feel about Vader doing the moonsault? What do you think about Bam Bam Bigelow?
Oh,
what do you think?
Man.
What do you think about the Great Muta doing the Shining Wizard?
Right.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is, it's like you're not doing a moonsault or anything. It's like you're doing jumping kicks.
Yeah.
Things that I have seen 90-pound soaking wet people do, and like they jump up for an Enzy, but they barely get knee height. Dude, you're jumping up fucking
at least at least a foot or two off the top rope.
Man, when me and Moose was in the ring, I popped him because we did a spot where we go back and forth, and then he goes for a spinning forearm, and out of his spin, I catch him with the jumping enziguri. So we go to the back after the match, and now Moose ain't no small dude. Moose is tall. Moose is a good 6'5", 6'6".
Oh, dude, like,
player.
Look, I'm 6 foot tall, and when I look at Moose, like when I stand next to Moose, I tilt my head almost all the way back. Like, bro, are you ever gonna stop? Like, is the top of you ever gonna stop?
Yeah, but it was like when we got to the back, I was joking with all like, bro, be real. You ain't expect my fat ass to get my foot up there, did you? You're like, nah. You're like, nah, big dog. I had to duck this shit because it was coming too fast. But it's like shit like that, man. It's like not about the move, but having those moments and those experiences, man. And some of us are getting to do, like the stuff. All right, the stuff that y'all getting to do. I ain't gonna go into it, but knowing what the origins of FGA is and the fact that y'all done took it and made it a staple around this motherfucker.
Yeah,
it's hilarious to me.
Right.
Because the fact that it was just two buddies that have always wanted to be a tag team, kind of like I'll look at it as we're almost like the Arkansas DX, is we were just disgruntled. And then now it's like, hey, we can be serious, but if you want us to be heels, I think we can do a really good job at being the comedy heels, and just let us go with that. Why? Because we can joke, and it's going to get a reaction. And so, and it's weird that me and Will have done the FGA tag thing for years now, and finally got our first tag team gold a couple months back. So, but I mean, semantics, and there's some companies that they're lucky to have a singles belt,
right.
Hey, but y'all did it
cheap.
Hey, but y'all did it the right way, man. Like, this ain't a dig at nobody, but somebody recently asked me, like, hey man, on another podcast I did, they were like, hey, what took you so long to finally get a title? Because I've been hearing your name for a minute. And I like, well, because I didn't go and start a company and book myself.
Yeah. Well,
hey, it is what it is. It is what it is.
The thing is like some, belts are cool, but it's I've learned that if you can get over without a belt and get yourself over, it just puts that much more stock into the belt when you do win it.
Right.
So piggybacking out that part of like that post that I mentioned earlier that I made yesterday, I call, like I said, this is my perspective of it. These championships around the state don't mean nothing because we still haven't, like, we're slowly getting, well, I don't even want to say slowly because we are starting to, it's like we're in the beginning stages of a boom period, but we're getting to where I feel we need to be. But the general audience don't care about the differences in between these belts that we all carry.
Right.
Just not walking with some. Now, the people who frequent the shows, they care, but we got to find more ways to get the general public to actually take what we do legitimate and serious. Me being Memphis Heritage champion don't mean nothing if I go work SCW. Me being Arkansas Heritage Champion, Arkansas Unified Arkansas Champion don't mean nothing if I go down to APW because I'm not a fixture in those different companies. But I feel like at some point in time, it's gonna happen to where I don't want to say the territory days, but part of that post that I made yesterday was a page out of Ric Flair shit. Bring me in, put me against somebody. We're gonna find a way to put your guy over some kind of way.
Right.
Well,
Way it benefits everybody.
Well, it's that legit ego at the door situation.
Yep.
And I saw, I'm in a pretty rocking tag team myself. I'm just gonna put that out there. But I want a shot at that.
Modern day Manksters.
I want a shot at that title at some point. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I'm just gonna slide that in.
Man, look, I'm lucky to get to look at it from a distance. So man, and I mean, even if you go in there with the idea of like what's it going to do for business, you also think about as we were talking about earlier, Bruce, it's a way to network because Toomer, you go defend that belt against somebody at a company, you might find an unknown talent that's only known that company, and you're like, what the hell are you doing here?
But on top of that, I can also go into a company and find somebody that they may not even be given a chance to.
Right, right.
And then they, you sit there and you give them that match, and then they'll be like, well, it's like the movie Holes when Zero speaks for the first time. They're like, yo, you talk, hell, what else can you do?
Oh, bro, totally unrelated. The Justice League Doom. The Justice League Doomsday, he takes the parademons and splices them with DNA from Doomsday and creates a whole new breed of parademons. And the Suicide Squad is trying to fight them. The whole movie, King Shark only says, I am King Shark in King Shark. At the end, when him and Captain Boomerang are about to die, because Captain Boomerang is like, dude, like having full conversation with King Shark, and King Shark is only saying, yeah, King Shark. And they're really going back and forth. Right when they die, King Shark look at him and says, it was an honor to die by your side, my friend. Captain Boomerang looked at him and said, what the fuck? And they died.
Oh, shit.
But that's what they reminded me of.
Well, hell, I seeing the comment of David saying, y'all are still going, geez, and seeing the good nights, gentlemen, I think we should probably call it here on that note.
Yeah.
10:52, and I got to finish packing for this gig we doing tomorrow.
Yep.
Well, hell.
All right, so
I appreciate you having me on. Like I
guys,
didn't want you to fly solo. So
guys, I really appreciate you both coming on. You saved my skin. I should have changed the name of this episode from "I'm All Alone" to the wrestling episode. But that's what happens when you get a boatload of a room full of wrestlers together, man. We just
ideologies and such.
I killed the show. Yep,
I killed the show. No, old man. They were peeling off well before. We were just rambling about wrestling, spitting out that wrestling knowledge.
Nah, it's his fault. He killed the show. That's why whole Fred farts in your popcorn.
Yeah.
You new truck driving bastard.
That's why I hope everybody food you get in your house has a Fred James hair on it. That is hairline.
I hope you're driving your nice shiny truck into a mud hole.
Oh man, too far.
Oh shit, too far.
Let him at least tag it first.
Right.
I hope you go to doo-doo and sit down, and when you go to get up, you realize you left the toilet tissue at the dollar store.
Oh man, man! I'll make a joke off of that. I hope when you do and you wipe, you keep wiping and you keep wiping, and there's still poop.
It's the what he said.
Hey, David, what do you call something that has 5 toes that's not your foot? My foot. Oh man.
All right,
hey,
guys.
Again, thank y'all for having me on, and I'll see y'all guys later. Y'all take
Hey,
care.
absolutely. Thank y'all guys for coming on again. I enjoyed it. I had a blast. Thank you guys all that stuck around, commenting and listening to our wrestling rants. Y'all young cats, I hope y'all learned a lot. Stick with it.
Hey,
Yes,
remember,
sir.
we getting into summertime. Get ready to bathe every day because some of y'all ain't doing it.